Hello, everybody, and welcome to Second Sunday. We are live in the Quantum Revolution community group. I am Jessica Alstrom, and for those of you who are just seeing me for the first time, I am the owner of Transcendence International Consciousness Academy and the creator of the Quantum Revolution Tour. And today I bring you guys your February energy update forecast 411. So what is February? Well, February is the month of love, right? So it's like this is the month where we get our Valentine's gifts and we look at how we feel about love and we go into gratitude for the things that we love and we love on our people and maybe some of us are feeling heartbreak and we're feeling that we don't have that love. Whatever the case is there's this kind of love in the air. But really what it is it's just a collective vibration, you guys. It's a collective agreement that in this particular month, we're going to celebrate this idea of really appreciating love. But underneath the surface, I want to kind of tell you guys what's really going down right now. And although this is going to be kind of a lighter second Sunday than I usually do, I have a tendency to get kind of heavy. This is going to be light because really what we need right now, more than anything right now, is we need to lighten up. We really need to lighten up. And what February is it's the end cap of a 3 month period of time that started in December, January, and February, that is kind of really asking us for us to kind of finalize this energy of 2018. And 2018 was really the year of a completion process. It was the end of the end of the year was a 7-year cycle. So we ended a 7-year cycle in 2018, and we're beginning a new one. And sometimes when we begin a new one, it's kind of like late for work. So some of us are still tidying up. Some of us are still integrating. Some of us are still avoiding. And what are we avoiding? What was the idea of 2018? It was all about clearing karmic energy. It was all about clearing space to make space for new versions of you, new updated species. The superhuman mankind that is literally in the process of becoming and integrating right now. That's what this whole ascension process is. It's not that we're going to turn into beams of light. We're literally going to turn into superhumans. But we got to do that by lightening up, which means that light is information. And the more information we have, the more access we have to our potential, the more access we have to our dormant DNA, the more access we have to each other. And when we don't have that access, when we're dense, we're holding a lot of stories, and we're holding a lot of opinions, and we're holding a lot of belief systems, and we're holding a lot of wounds, and we're holding a lot of trauma, that really literally, metaphorically, and literally weighs us down. And it does it from an energy standpoint and also a physical standpoint. So you're emotionally tired, physically tired, spiritually tired, right? Probably after 2018, you're like, I need a nap from all of this spiritual work that you've been doing. And a lot of you guys are feeling right now in February how tired you are. Some of you are energetic and you're lively and you're moving through, but I've noticed a lot of when I tap in that there's this kind of very overwhelming sense of almost exhaustion. And then you'll notice that the next day you'll have energy, and the next day you'll be tired, and the next day you have energy, and the next day you'll be tired. Kind of like what's happening with our weather right now. Have you noticed what's going on with our weather? It's very bipolar. It's up and down. It's hot. It's cold. One side is too hot. One side is too cold. And we're all doing that. So if we can literally uncover our extremes, we can find balance. That's what we're all working towards. It's to really achieve that state of being called balance. And what that means is my divine masculine, my divine feminine is in balance, in harmony. What is harmony? Peace. What is peace? Joy, right? And not from an extra ecstatic place of joy, but just a piece of appreciation. And when you're in a state of peace, you notice more things around you. When you're in peace, you notice that being in the present moment doesn't suck. So we're all seeking this peace, but we've been going about it kind of in this out of alignment way all these years by kind of doing that instant gratification thing and that study all the time thing and that self-judgment thing and that self-harassing thing and that searching for self-love in other people thing. And really that's all coming to a close. And as these old cycles are ending, you will notice that some of your karmic relationships are ending. You'll notice that some of the karmic relationships that you have with people, places, and things are wrapping up. And there might be a part of you that is really kind of having a hard time letting go because, well, there's many, many reasons. And if you're taking the warrior training right now, which I hope you are, it's an 8-week process that we're doing in our private classroom that is associated with our world tours. We are all talking about all of the different shadow elements that are keeping us from really accelerating in this ascension process. We're looking at all of our perpetrator and victim energies that are stored in our energy field. We're looking at our self-sabotage. We're looking at our procrastination. We're looking at our codependencies. We're looking at our insecurities. We're looking at all these things from an inward reflection without judgment so that we can really identify from an observation perspective who and what we believe we are and what has been motivating us to be a good person or be the right person or be a special person when we were that all along underneath, but we've been striving for this excellence in our lives so that we will feel worthy, so that we'll feel valuable. So my forecast for you guys this month is really about changing the way that you're looking at your reality right now, because 2019 is going to be very intense energy. Now that can be a positive spectrum and that can be a negative spectrum, depending on where you are focused. You can either have a really hard time or you can have the time of your life. Literally, it's a difference between a comedy and love story versus a horror flick, depending on what you are resisting, what you're holding on to, where your suffering still is, where you still feel those limits are holding you back. And if you're kind of in a place where things are kind of noticing that this foundation is starting to be built around you, where you may not have all the answers, you may not have all the money, you may not have all the friends, but you're starting to feel solid. You're starting to feel kind of this ownership of who you are without all the masks, which means you're the same person without a relationship that you are in a relationship. You're the same person without the money that you are with the money. You're the same person. And that is where we end the cycle of living the double life so that we can exist in both our spiritual realms and our 3D realms and make our families happy. And we're kind of going, you know what? I'm calling this quits. I'm going to step into the light. I'm going to look at the things that I've been avoiding. I'm going to look at my procrastinations. I'm going to really get inside this body and feel all these feelings that I have been avoiding for a really long time. And the cool thing is, if I can feel it, I can heal it. And if I can feel it, I can let it go. And it's just a matter of intention and practice. It is about using your divine feminine and your divine masculine energies to go inside, which is the divine feminine, and look at all the emotions and feel all the emotions and then take action. How are we going to take action? How are we going to take action in all of our feels, right? Well, the first thing is 50% of the way is to just notice. Acceptance is 50%, if not 90%, but we're going to give the divine masculine a little credit and take some action. And how do we take some action in that? We take action by understanding that the best apology is change behavior. And when we start to show up differently to ourselves, our worlds change. It isn't that you need your spouse to be different. It isn't that you need your job to pay you more money. It isn't that your body needs to look a certain way. It is that you need to get okay with who you are. And once you're okay with who you are, everyone seems to be okay with who you are because of law of reflection. So what I'm recommending and what I'm living by right now, because we're all going through huge, huge processes of unveiling, unmasking, stripping away, truth surfacing. And that includes old issues that you have been resisting or numb to. This could be conflicts in your relationships that you've avoided for a really long time that are just literally like all up under your grill right now and you cannot ignore it. It could be something that you've got really complacent with over the years and now you can't handle it. And it could be codependency that is coming to an end where you're realizing that you've been giving your power away and you've been siphoning other people's energies to feel balanced when you just needed to stand on your own 2 feet. And this year is all about courage. It is about saying, wow, I can stand on my own 2 feet. And my quality of life has actually not changed that much, because we think that we're going to lose our quality of life if we stand on our own 2 feet. But as long as we are in a codependent situations, we're constantly giving away our power. And if we're constantly giving away our power, I don't have access to all my power, which means I don't have access to all of my creation, my ability to create for myself, my abundance flow, my freedom. Codependency creates jail cells. So we've been talking a lot about that in our warrior training today, which is we are in week 4. But how it ties in with February right now is that February is the month where it is you have this like last opportunity before Mars hits. And February has really felt, if I'm not the only one that's feeling this, it's really felt like a retrograde. It has felt like just this constant, annoying, like creating huge amount of focus on what we've been avoiding. And that's kind of what, you know, the point of a retrograde is to get you really present by reacting, remembering, recycling. And that's we're going to be stepping into in March, is this kind of insane retrograde. It's going to be pretty potent. It's going to be pretty powerful. And we have an opportunity right now to kind of go with the flow in this cycle if we do the work right now. And what is the work right now? So easy. Be childlike, okay? We need to lighten up, right? Our bodies know how to ascend. Our souls know how to ascend. Our ego does not know how to ascend, okay? Our inner child's like, I know how to do this too. So let's go with the consciousness that knows the way home. All right. And let's stop leading with the one negative Nelly in the back seat, acting like a backseat driver, the ego, that's constantly telling you you're going the wrong way and that you need to doubt yourself, and you need to shame yourself, and you need to guilt yourself, and you need to stay obligated to your grandmother's, uncle's, cousin's nephew, and let go of some of these more toxic situations so that we can step into the driver's seat. Because again, the bigger part of you knows where you're going, how to get there, and what you're supposed to do when you get there. It also knows that the people, places, and circumstances and events that you need to rendezvous so that you can create your ultimate dream reality exist, but they don't exist here in fear. None of it does. So we got to get to the other side of that frequency. And what I'm getting is that if we would stop focusing on what we're supposed to do here, and what is my purpose, and how can I help the world, and I feel obligated to this, and I feel suffering over here, and I feel judgment over here, and I feel pain. If you would return to play for February, just for February, just entertain me here, just for February, if you would just lighten the F up and really say, what makes me happy? What makes me genuinely happy? Not what anyone else needs or thinks, but what makes me happy? Is it literally just, you know, spending time with myself? Is it just doing this? Is it just doing this? What happens is we usually base our happiness on whether it's allowed. And you may not be all the way present of this, but there's usually someone in your universe that is dictating how happy you are allowed to be. Sometimes your happiness bothers other people. Sometimes your happiness bothers your flow, which means whatever warden you have going on in your reality, whether it's your job, your body, your kids, your spouse, right? Time, whoever is your warden is literally dictating how happy you're allowed to be. So what I want you to do is a little experiment. And I want you to sit down and think to yourself, what would I really do today if I was allowed to be totally happy? Like, not just what would make me happy, but what would I do that would be enjoyable to the point of happiness today? And then notice all the stops. Notice what is saying no to you on that. Notice what you're not allowed to do. Notice what funds you don't have available. Notice who is going to say, I don't think you should be doing that, or you need to do this over here, or you need to be doing this over there. And you will pinpoint and find not only some of your greatest shadow points, but you will also find some codependency. You have locked into the belief system that someone owns your ability to be happy. And that's why you've never allowed yourself to go all the way, because you don't feel you can do it by yourself. You don't feel like you are allowed to do it by yourself. You don't feel you know how to do it by yourself. And this is really at the root of codependency, is anything that you feel that you can't do on your own or by yourself or without fill in the blanks. This could be addiction. This could be obligation. This could be a relationship. This could be money. And if we make this a game, so in my house, everything is a game because I have a 6-year-old. And that is the only way we keep flow, is everything's a game, down to brushing the teeth, down to chores, down to laundry, down to homework. It's all a game. And that keeps my life moving really good. And I thought to myself, this is working with my 6-year-old, who by definition is closer to source energy than I am. And this works for him to keep him in a disciplined, happy environment of flow where there's constant expansion. I thought, why don't I try this? Why don't I try to do all the things that I gotta do and turn them into a game? Turn everything into a game. Lighten up like a child. Okay, so you got to have this uncomfortable conversation with so-so over there to get your power back. How can you turn it into a game? You want to create more money for yourself. How can you turn it into a game? I'm in the process right now of creating so many games for all of you. Abundance games, duality games, limitations and possibility games, because who we really are inside is very childlike. And really where we stop the flow of energy is with authority. Well, our energy really halts when authority steps in, because we are here as empaths and light workers to break rules. So if someone puts a rule on us, hey, we're going to do everything we can to get around that rule. So if you know that you have an issue with authority, hello, then what you're needing to do is you're needing to go, I need to create a game around this so I won't stop my energy because I feel threatened, or I feel caged, or I feel like my freedom is being repressed. We want to turn everything into a game so that we can navigate through the next couple of months, because the shadows are going to keep slapping you. The opportunities are going to come. You're going to have the best of both worlds right now. You're going to have the ultimate reflections of the horror images of the past recycling on your lap right now, and you're also going to have more potential in front of you than you could have ever imagined. The choice is ours, that we can look at abundance and limitations, okay? And we can see the limits that we're creating in our possibilities. Do you see this game I'm playing right here? So this is a really fun quantum game. So if you looked at all of the things that you feel very limited by, and you went inside of it and you said, my job in this limitation is to create abundance. How can I create abundance in this limitation? Well, let's take something called your mortgage or your rent, for example. It's usually the bigger bulk of what you have to pay out every month that steals your joy. It also steals your freedom, it steals your extra money, whatever. Regardless of who's paying it in your house, it's still one of those big, ugly burdens that just is always there. Now, most of us look at it as a limitation. Right? We look at it as a limitation. We look at it as, you know, $600 to $5,000 a month going out the window for a house that isn't even my dream house, and blah, 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 right? Fill in the blanks. Lack, right? And what happens with that is anything you assign a personality to, it will become. So if your house now is a burden, your house is going to become a burden, because the universe is also playing this game with you as well. So the universe says, oh, your house is a burden, so we need to make your house a burden. Oh, your car is a burden. Your car will be a burden. Your body's a burden. We can play that game too, because everything is a reflection. So in this understanding of quantum learning, we know that our focus is what creates reality. So if I were going to look at my house, which is where I am right now, which is where I am every day, and I looked at the abundance that my home gives me, and I looked at all of the abundance I can create in my home, and I can create anything and anything that I want. And for a measly little, you know, $2,500 a month, what am I actually getting? What am I getting? And what am I getting is I am getting a home office. I'm not even just getting a home office. I have a production studio. I have a production studio. I have a sanctuary. I have a gourmet 5-star restaurant right there in the other room. I have a place where my children can create and play. I have a place where I can shower and I can meditate and I can do all of these things. And in this space, I can create myself. I can heal myself. I can soothe and nurture and expand. I can feel safe. Look at all the abundance that's right there, regardless of where you live. If you live in a shoebox somewhere, you also have this opportunity there. You may not have it the way you want it. You may not have the gourmet kitchen per se, but you have a place that you could create gourmet food in, okay? And it doesn't matter who's paying for it or the responsibility of it. All that matters is where your focus goes, because we have entered a new paradigm. We have entered this 5-dimensional frequency that is very delicate, which means that you touch it, it moves. So if I am flowing a bunch of negative energy towards something called my home will flow negative energy back to me. So if I see everything that I was viewing as a limitation as abundance, then what I do is I expand the contracted parts of my reality And then if I turn this game over to the other way and I look at all the potential, think about all the opportunities you guys have right now. Think about the things that are in your heart, whether it's opening a school or a nonprofit or writing a book or starting a podcast or painting a picture or recording a music or finding a home or finding a soulmate. Absolute, utter potential. That's all that exists. But there's a limit in that potential, and that limit is you. Because you have been trained to get overwhelmed in possibilities. You have been trained that you don't have a choice. You have been trained that you don't create your reality, even though you say you believe that. When you look at all this potential, you don't see a direct road. You don't see one road that's going to take you to all your potential. You see a billion roads, and that scares you. And that fear is your limitation. So what if you changed that fear into every single road here is abundance? No matter what road I get on, it will never be the wrong choice, because every road that I am going on that I say is abundance will take me to the road that I'm supposed to be. So even if I take the path of least resistance and I get on this road because it feels safe and it feels a little bit understanding, but my intention is there's abundance here. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the ability to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it, and how you want to do it. That is abundance. And as you go on that road, you know that with the intention of this is not a limitation, this is potential. And I'm going to ride this road until it connects me, it detours me with the road that my higher self wanted to. And it's all based in joy. It is all based in happiness, which means that you're going to have to start letting someone else know around you that this makes me happy and I'm sorry that it bothers you. That's your issue. This makes me happy. So I'm going to take this road and I'm going to turn all of my potential back into potential. And I am going to turn all of my limits into potential. So I have just healed duality, haven't I? I have turned duality into the absolute truth, which is everything is potential. There's always, 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 always potential in limitations, but we are not programmed to see potential. We are programmed to see a problem. And a problem by nature tells your brain that there is no way out. And that is when fight or flight turns on in your body, your adrenal glands go haywire, the body starts to freak out and run too much energy and then drop out of energy, which we call anxiety, panic, and then fatigue. And with this cycle, we are literally destroying our human bodies by poisoning our systems with adrenaline, because what we're doing in adrenaline is we're overthinking things instead of moving. So I taught a whole class last week in our academy about 11 ways to release emotional trauma, energy, baggage, because what happens is if I'm mad and I don't do anything with that mad, and I don't express that mad because I'm a good person, and I don't unleash the beast on someone, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reabsorb that. Now you are a biological quantum being. So whatever you put out is what you get back. And if you don't put it out, you're keeping it. So if I hold anger inside of me, or frustration or terror or fear or worry, then my cellular body takes on the personality of worried, feared, angry, right? Guilty, shameful, and it builds a body from that identity. That's where disease comes from. This is where allergies come from. This is where all chronic illness comes from. It is basically cellular memory being recorded with an emotional template. So how do we express the emotional template? Well, we don't unleash our anger on someone because we know that's going to create some karma, right? Even though we're mad at them, we're just mad. We're mad that they triggered what was hiding underneath there. We're not actually mad at them. We're upset with them because they actually unleashed what we have been hiding from ourselves. So we know that we've got to channel that anger somewhere else. And what is anger? See, these are all games. What is anger? Anger is actually just hiding sadness. Sadness. It's sadness's bodyguard, y'all. That's all it is. It's sadness's bodyguard. It's covering up some sadness. So if you say, you know what, I'm mad and I need to get mad because that's where my power is, then go get mad. But get mad and channel that anger in a higher frequency with music, with movement, with sweat, with intensity, with emotional release processes. that are going to actually help you assist to get some of that clogged emotion out of your body this month, so that you may be able to take your 3D glasses off in March and have your new vision of eyes and really step into your power and say, you know what, this year is going to be challenging, but it's going to be effing awesome. And I'm in control and I'm in this driver's seat. And these old fears that I've been repressing and avoiding for so long that keep getting triggered in front of me all the time because they're ready to clear, because that's what happens when triggers happen, is your soul is saying, we're ready to clear this, instead of bury it back down for a later explosion when someone, forgets the laundry in the dryer. So we know that our job is right now is to play, but play quantum games. This isn't like check out and go shopping. This is about looking at our life as a buffet of potential, just like the quantum field of possibilities, and taking ownership of how much potential we have to change our mindsets about all of these things that we are seeing as lack, and seeing everything as amazing opportunities. Because anything you don't have is creating desire, and desire is your engine of manifestation. If you're getting desire, you're a millionaire inside of your heart, because desire will create motivation, and motivation will create action, and action will create a final product. So without desire, you go nowhere. So if you're always looking at lack, you're going to stay in lack. If you're always looking at abundance, you're going to see it everywhere. So take your car, take your home, take anything that's a big that takes a big bite out of your paycheck, right? Feeding your kids organically. What is it that takes a big bite out of your paycheck? And how can you play a game and turn it into 100 different abundant ways? Because after I did that with my home, I thought, oh my gosh, I should be paying so much more for this. Because to have a home office and a studio and a gourmet restaurant and a sanctuary and a spa and all these things that I have in my house, but it's like, this would cost me $100,000 a month to have all of these things. And instead, I'm paying just this small amount. Do you see how just then my frequency changed? My body listened, okay? When I feel something viscerally, my body is listening. And when my body is listening, my body is saying, okay, now act it out so I know if it's real or not. I don't know if you're tricking us like you always do. So if you act it out, I'll know if you're telling the truth to us so that we can re-imprint the cellular memory. So now my job is to constantly feel abundant in my space, to have so much gratitude for everything that I have, to see it as, wow, I am so lucky and grateful and honored to be able to do these things. And you know what? If you play this game, see, I'm not asking you to really do this. Stop being a grown-up all the time. You're not good at it anyways, by the way. None of us are. Return to what we are good at and become the child again, and look at everything as a playground or pretend. Like my son, he will turn his room into a castle. He will turn his room into a fort. He will turn his room into a lava with mountains around it. And he has not left his room. And he has the best time in that space creating abundance where there is just a blank canvas. So our job is to stop looking at everything as a problem and start looking at it as a blank canvas. Because what happens when we do that, your life starts to grow instead of contract. And even though you're focusing on the abundance over here and you're grateful for it, and you're looking at your possibilities and you're healing the things that make you feel limited by your own greatness and your own potential and your own opportunities and your own abundance over here, and you're working on your self-esteem and you're getting your body strong and you're falling in love with yourself, then you're creating abundance over here and you're creating abundance over here. And now you're not going to get blindsided by the law of attraction and get something that manifests bittersweet. You're going to have what you actually want. You're going to feel safe telling the truth. You're going to feel safe putting people back into their power while you take your own power back. No, thank you. Yes. This is where we're heading as a collective. If we're ever really going to truly be able to work together, we have to get centered in our greatness. We have to break the codependent change of where we feel all of our limits are. We hide our limits in other people. We hide our insecurities in other people because they say they love us, so we latch on. Or they say they're going to help us, so we latch on. Then we owe our soul to them. We're not even allowed to be happy the way we want to be happy. Think about the last time you were in a relationship where you really wanted to do something and they wanted to do something else, and you had to do what they wanted to do because you're the bigger person and an empath and you understand what they need and you understand what you need, but you let them win to save face. All right? How many times have we done that? We learned this in childhood. Okay? Stop being authentic. Be what I need you to be. And this is how every relationship you will have will go. And in the beginning, in the first 3 months, notice how this 3 is really, really big this year. First 3 months, relationships are great because everybody is in that state of pretend. They're staying in a state of possibilities. This relationship could be anything. This could be magical. This could be great. 3 months, this isn't great. It's your fault. You did this to me. I can't do anything I want. I have to sit and watch football. I have to sit and do this. I have to sit and do this. You know, and I want to go over here, and now you're telling me I can't do that because it costs too much money, right? So think about this. Turn it into a game. Turn it into a game. Work on your codependencies. And a game for codependency is, how can I turn this relationship into a connection versus attachment? And if you don't understand what that actually means, I have a whole workshop called Quantum Entanglement buried in my archives that you can get your hands on. And it's like an 8 or 12 week process that takes you through really breaking cords, connections, soul contracts, all of these things with your twin flames and all this fun karmic energy that we have, and really stepping into understanding that all relationships need to be about connection, not attachment. Anytime you have attachment, it becomes an addictive, codependent, out of aligned, based frequency relationship that will make you unconsciously or consciously, depending on how aware you are, feel like you're in a jail cell. And children do not like to be in a jail cell, okay? They do not like time. They do not like jail cells. They do not like authority, just like you. All right. So this is where we are for February. We are really in this state where we have to kind of be aware and navigate everything that feels really uncomfortable, that's growing and changing and clearing and healing, and turn it into a game. Because the more childlike you can be this month, especially, the faster you'll go and the happier you will be, because you're going to see every single thing as abundance, right? Even that relationship that's sitting with you that is kind of stirring all of your issues around because of obligation that makes you feel small and suffering, you're going to see it differently if you choose to see it differently. And then you're going to act on it differently. And then the universe, because it is giving you exactly what you're giving it, it will return with you a much bigger life. Because think about it. Children spend a good 7 to 12 years pretending. And somehow, if they follow that art of science, they can manifest driving a real car. They can manifest living in a real house. They can manifest having a real partner. They're in practice. That's what children do. They know how to pretend before they know what logic is. They know how to dance before they can walk. Okay? They know how to sing before they can talk. So there are certain elements about us, if we would just return to this childlike space and say, I can't control anything except the way I see this. I can't control what's happening, but I can control how I can see this. And I choose to see every single thing in my life as abundance. Even the lessons I'm learning, there's abundance in those, because I know the lessons that I'm learning right now on the other side of that is insane awareness and consciousness and access to more and more of my gifts. So I know that even though it's uncomfortable at times to walk through the fire and stand in your power and really speak your truth, that if you look at everything as the road to abundance, then the universe will have no choice, no matter if you're in a true jail cell or not, no matter if you're homeless or not. Right now, if you follow this philosophy for February, because of the current, the way this new moon lined up, it's taking us right into preparing us for this intense retrograde. But it's also saying, clear out the rest of 2018. And I'm telling you guys, we have no choice but to lighten up, because 2018 and the years past were heavy. And we don't want to just be heavy because that's what we need to do, because we're not grown-ups. We're children. So look at everything childlike. Play more than you work if you can, or turn your work into play. Turn every little ritual that you have to do to be a grown-up back into a child, and you will sing and you will dance through it. It's like Mary Poppins, a spoonful of sugar, right? And the cleaning of the room. It's like everything in your reality that feels heavy and dense right now is causing your body to get overexhausted because of how much upgrading we're doing and how much clearing is happening from this ascension process. And the weather is happening with the same way. It's like this bipolar energy. And so just ride the waves of your uncertain emotion. Channel your anger outside of you. Channel your grief outside of you, not at anyone, Now, Mother Earth would lovingly take it because she reabsorbs and turns it back to power. She turns everything that is a limit into potential. So if you're ever wondering how to play this game, watch how Mother Earth takes a carcass or takes a fire and what it actually does with it. Ashes make the best fertilizer, right? Everything is always reused back into potential. So nothing is ever in a state of lack unless you decide it is. So your February forecast is to return to the childlike state, turn everything into a game. And as you prepare for the retrograde, don't get scared. Learn to play the game. It's all about clearing up and getting out. It's all about learning to be in emotional harmony with this body of yours. It's okay to feel mad in 5 minutes and angry in another, upset in another minute, and sad in another minute, and happy in another minute. Play on it. Express yourself. Find a good outlet for yourself. Find a good channel. I use music. I use color. I use sound therapy. I use body energy work. I use meditation. I use humming. I use chanting. I use yelling. I use driving fast. These are some of the ways to get your adrenaline moving in a positive direction versus in a scarcity, lack, fight or flight, then freeze, destruction of the human body. All right. Okay, guys, we are on point. So I'm really excited about our March, our March tour that's coming up, the Quantum Revolution at Red Rock. There's still time for you guys to get tickets. You can go to our website, which is quantumrevolutiontour.com, and check that out. Really love for you guys to be there. We need all the healing power that we need. Vegas is a big beast, you guys. As far as a nemesis to face, Vegas is not going to be easy. So the more of us, the better. I also know that we are going to be expanding our tours in the future, and that we would like to invite like-minded teachers, philosophers, healers that have a big gift that they feel that quantum represents what we're doing that isn't aligned with this project, to please reach out to us so that in the future we can turn a tiny little tour into a giant festival and play our way into enlightenment. So thank you guys so much for joining me. You can reach out directly to me through brain fog, through our pages, our instant messages on our pages, like our Quantum Revolution Tour page or my Jessica Alstrom public figure page. You can also email us. You can email me directly at jessalstrom@gmail.com. That's my personal. You can reach out to Amber, Jen, Christian, any of our team, any of our A team members. You can reach out to all of them and say, hey, you know what? I think I need to be a part of this. So let's get this big and let's go play. All right. I will see you guys all soon, and I'll see the rest of the students in the classroom next week. Enjoy your month of love.